have up on our screens to pull up for everyone the foundation for white well-being. Actually, I think I could probably just read. There's not a whole lot to, it's just the words here. Responded to, and we got some pretty good numbers of views, for us at least, people who care about white people. So we've got pretty good views. What you had was the flooding in Texas that killed many people, as you know, especially many children and a lot of white people killed, injured, lost their homes, lost all their belongings. Super tragic, terrible thing. And as we have seen in the past, there are occasionally organizations that are oriented white sympathetic in one form or another. There have been a lot of pro-Southern groups like this over the years. A lot of pro-Southern groups, history preservation groups. A lot of those I was much more familiar with. But there have been other ones, the NA, World Church of the Creator, a lot of different groups over the years. Pastor Butler and his crew, Pastor Wickstrom and his crew. I've just lots. I could go on. I have seen a 10 lifetimes of failure for helping our people, and I have reached the finitude of my patience when it comes to these things. And so that's why, of course, we decided over the years to do something very different, and applying the scientific method, make sure it works. Back to the point, these entities will go out into the public to occasionally, again, it's not a super common thing, of course, because primarily the focus of these different entities over the years have been elsewhere. But occasionally they want to go out, and I mean, for the love of God, even the Klan, which was never good for white people, even the Klan would buy stretches of highways to keep clean. And it was, of course, to engender at least in part, a better reputation with our neighbors, and then to whatever degree, I don't know, a genuine love for our people, wanting to help. Surely that is present to some degree. Although I think if you're really in this for the love of our people, you're going to end up here with this strategy that works, and cleansing yourself of mean pathogens and taking that white magic to as many people as you possibly can while there's still time. The ADL, Anti-Defamation League, is an anti-white organization, my opinion, of course. I've never seen them do positive work for Jews. I've only seen them act in anti-white ways to attack white people. Every time I try, and they'll have these graphs, they'll have these digital maps, and they'll include, well, there's a black nationalist group maybe here, and maybe a Hispanic supremacist group there. Oddly, I really don't see very many Jewish supremacist groups on their hate maps and things of this nature, kind of like the SPLC does. And but they focus on scaring Jewish people into donating lots of money to them, and they have hundreds of millions of dollars. As far as I know, hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, they're very litigious, and sue is not a name in the community of the ADL. It is a verb. So they're very litigious, hundreds of millions of dollars. And anytime that white people say, what about white people? They attack. They will dig up. They will kill by association. They will dig up statements. They will dig up acts, etc. So that's an interesting aspect of this supposedly Jew positive organization. It's an interesting aspect that in all of their activity, they're anti-white rather than Jew positive. With hundreds of millions of dollars, They could put every indigent Jew in Ukraine up in expensive hotels, move them to Israel, whatever it is. They could feed them all, but they're not doing that. No, in fact, white Christians are paying for those Jews to eat, to have bread, water, milk, etc. The commercials are constantly running on conservative media, guilting white people into helping. In fact, the last one I just saw, the last commercial of them begging on white guilting white people, they literally said in that commercial, and usually they're not this upfront, they literally said that if you help them, God will smile down on you because these are God's chosen. I couldn't believe it. They usually just let people know that from their Judeo-Christian garbage preachers, all taught in the anti-white seminaries and preacher schools, and it's all anti-white from start to finish. They usually just allow that. They usually don't say it themselves, but maybe they're getting a little bit more desperate. They said it themselves in the commercial. ADL is not helping them. So what we do see is that when people are white sympathetic in any way, shape, or form, they attack. And they cause a lot of damage by doing it. So if you're helping a white person and you're white, and the ADL thinks you're not anti-white enough, they're going to attack you for that, instilling what's called the fear of the mad dog, so that white people won't help white people. We won't go out, and you can see the results of this. You have how many millions of conservative whites in Texas? How many of them showed up to help these white people? None, statistically zero, because they are afraid of the fear of the mad dog. They are afraid if they show up and there aren't enough non-white people to pull out of the mud, to buy new houses for, to give them $10,000 checks, that they'll be seen as helping white people. And they are afraid of it. Part of instilling that fear is the behavior of the ADL. The rest of it, of course, is the anti-white narrative that they are infected with from cradle to grave. So we decided we were going to post a response to this because they had gone after an organization that calls itself Patriot Front. And a friend of mine actually went out there with them. And he's not in that group, but he went out there with them to help these white people who are struggling, suffering, dying, dead, sunk in the deepest of sadness. There was a pun there I didn't want to use, over the death of their loved ones. And what happens? The ADL attacks. The ADL attacks this group. Shouldn't be helping white people if you're not anti-white enough. And this was our response. The Foundation for White Wellbeing is alarmed by the ADL's actions on July 10, 2025, which revealed a disturbing pattern of anti-whiteism, targeting white people who are concerned with the welfare of our white brothers and sisters. With 119 lives lost and over 170 still missing after the devastating flooding in Kerr County, Texas, this tragedy has prompted various groups, including an organization calling itself Patriot Front, to step up with time, money, and resources to aid victims, many of whom are white. Just to pause there for a moment. Think about this for a moment. These people who are going out there from Patriot Front, and like I said, I know a guy personally, who are going out there with their own money, their own time, their own effort, and potentially at risk of injury, being out in these environments. These are very unstable environments that you don't want to be roaming around in without the right training and equipment and emergency on hand. What the ADL is saying is that these individuals, if they go out to help, if they go out to rescue and help white people, then they're evil. You need to stay away. Helping white people can only be done when, I don't know, it's multiracial, when it is done by people who don't care about white people. By contrast, rather than use its nearly limitless resources to aid these victims of the flood, the ADL has chosen to use its immense public platform to smear these relief workers with anti-white slurs, such as white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Such efforts potentially compound the victimization of flood victims by sowing fear and doubt for aid and relief workers. Imagine that. You've already been victimized. You've got a dead one. You've lost your daughter. Your family pets are all dead and gone. And now you're looking for help. And you get the news that white supremacists, neo-Nazis are in town posing as aid workers. This is victimizing the white victims further, instilling this doubt and this fear. Who are the people showing up? If somebody shows up, how do I know that they're not a neo-Nazi? You know, what kind of people are these? They know from all of entertainment media that they're awful, they're evil. I mean, it's worse than getting in touch and tight with the mafia. It's worse than that. You don't know what could happen. These people might disappear you. They might kidnap you. Just look at the movies and the TV shows and the books. On top of that, if you allow them to help you, are you identifying with them? Are you somehow stained by them? Is the ADL going to run a piece on you? Is the local Gazette going to run a piece on you about how you associated with the neo-Nazis after the flooding? And then you're not able to work. You're not able to. So further victimizing people that have already been victimized. This is absolutely despicable of the ADL. This raises a critical question. Why is helping one's own community, especially in a time of crisis, met with such vicious anti-white rhetoric? The ADL's narrative seems designed to vilify white individuals for acts of compassion, suggesting that any support for white victims is inherently suspect. This is a clear manifestation of anti-whiteism, attacking white people for their identity and efforts to assist others. Patriot Front, whatever their broader views and activities, are engaged in tangible aid during a disaster that has ravaged Texas as of July 12, 2025. Shouldn't this be judged by its impact, lives saved and communities supported, rather than twisted into an anti-white attack? The ADL's behavior suggests a deliberate anti-white agenda. By labeling relief efforts as supremacist, they are not only slandering white men, but also undermining the very people who are suffering from this flood. Again, you look at this from various angles. How many white people are discouraged from aiding our brothers, our white brothers and sisters, when they look out at the injured and the areas destroyed and they see just too many white people? When you reflect back to North Carolina, and when you had, Helene and all, they came through there, you saw every white person that went to aid virtually. I mean, I didn't see every single one of them, but everyone I saw made their best effort to find non-white people to video and photograph themselves with aiding. And this is in Appalachia, where they are maybe as rare as hen's teeth, and they were looking for them. They needed to get their picture with them. They knew somewhere deep down, and we can explain exactly how and why that is, somewhere deep down, that if they're just helping white people, something is inherently wrong. If the people being saved are white, something is inherently wrong. I saw them making these comments all the entire time that they were rescuing people in North Carolina and Southern Virginia and Tennessee. These comments about all walks of life, all races. What, like, how does that even apply? You're just going down there because, I don't know, you know how to do. One guy is coming to mind, like he tested water or something like this. And he's making these, like, you're going down there to test if the water is fine for people to drink or if it's polluted and what's in it. Why are you talking about all races of beer? You're there to help all races. Why? Because of the anti-white programming in his head. The anti-white narrative ignores the reality. FEMA and local resources are stretched thin, and community initiatives are vital. Yet the ADL targets white rescuers, implying their help is illegitimate which only deepens the victimization of white Texans already enduring loss and hardship. The ADL's rush to apply derogatory labels without evidence, claiming Patriot Front's actions are a guise for hate, serves to demonize white people collectively. This is unacceptable. And I call out the Anti-Defamation League. Shame on you all. Shame on you. No white person will condemn Jews for helping Jews. So shut your anti-white mouths when we reach out to help white brothers and sisters. Shut your anti-white mouths. And you know what's better? ADL, you know what's even better? I don't give a shit. All of white well-being, all of white positivity doesn't give a shit how Jewish you are. We never have. We only care that you're anti-white. So your little game of, oh, they just disagree because we're Jews is negated. We've never cared. I've given tens of thousands of hours of video, of audio, of books I've written. I've never cared what pair of legs you came through when you were born. Don't care. You all are anti-white as all hell, and that's what matters. And white people are going to hear it. If the ADL's mission is to combat hate, why do they perpetuate an anti-white narrative that uses slurs that divide and seed white guilt? The victims of this disaster, including white residents, deserve support, not scapegoating. Finally, the ADL should provide concrete proof of wrongdoing or cease its anti-white vilification, which exploits a natural disaster to advance its agenda against white people. Let us reject the anti-white victimization and demand accountability. The truth is clear. Helping others, regardless of who does it, is one of Western kind's values. A value, it seems, that the ADL does not share when the victims are white. The ADL's anti-white rhetoric must be exposed and dismantled to protect the dignity of white people unfairly targeted in this crisis. So, time to apologize, ADL garbage. Time to come out with a public apology